And we found that there was anywhere between 26 to 40% more congregations in a community than are officially listed. So there's a vast undercounting of the number of congregations, and many of these are minority congregations.
It is not often, these days at least, that we can report something truly encouraging. But today is one of those days. Even with all the advanced technology we have, it turns out that we have been seriously undercounting the number of people who believe. Listen to this. Data from 5 recent U.S. population surveys point to the vibrancy, ubiquity, and growth of religion in the United States. Americans are becoming more religious, it turns out, and religious institutions are thriving. The author of that study is joining us tonight, the founding director of the Baylor Institute for the Studies of Religion, Byron R. Johnson. Byron, thanks so much for joining us about this important topic.
Thanks, Doug. Good to be here.
This kind of defies logic, at least from what I see with my own eyes, traveling around the country. I've been to Maine frequently in recent years, and I see many churches now on the for sale market as residences. Tell me what's underlying this data that you've accumulated.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's really interesting when you say that, because we've actually done research that shows just the opposite, that a lot of 7-Elevens have been converted into storefront churches, and a lot of saloons, ironically, have also been turned into cowboy churches.
Works both ways.
And so it works both ways. We found in 3 different communities in the Richmond, Virginia area, here in Central Texas, and then in Bellingham, Washington, where we did kind of a Google study, where we put people in cars and we drove every street of the county, and we took pictures of congregations and then asked them if they knew of other congregations that they were affiliated with or they had planted. And we found that there was anywhere between 26 to 40% more congregations in a community than are officially listed. So there's a vast undercounting of the number of congregations, and many of these are minority congregations, Latino, African American. And so we're overlooking a great deal of what's happening in the religious landscape, but that's just one small part of what we wanted to accomplish in this particular study.
It's interesting to hear you say that there is a demographic component to this. And I wonder if the lag in church going is another demographic switch too, that it might be people of my background, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, upper middle class or middle class people.
You know, it's really interesting. So this whole argument of who's going to church, who isn't going to church, it's been around for a long time. But what you're hearing, at least in the mainstream media and among academics, that there's just been this dramatic freefall, that people are not attending, churches are closing, and that we're becoming more secular and less religious by the day. So we don't argue that, you know, secularization is here. And we don't argue even that maybe society is becoming more secular, but we're also arguing that it's becoming more religious. It's certainly stable. And we would argue that if you believe the Gallup world poll, that the world has never been more religious than it is today. And so, you know, one of the things, Doug, we wanted to do was to see, well, what's going on with these surveys that show people are saying that they're unaffiliated, or what we now know as the nones, N-O-N-E-S, no religious affiliation. And in the study that we did at Baylor, we asked people, and you can just select from a large list of denominations, where are you connected, where are you affiliated? And all the standard surveys do the same thing. But and at the bottom, you can put none of the above, you can put I don't know, I'm not connected at all. And then but what we ask in addition to that, we ask, have you attended church recently? Yes or no? If you have attended, where? Can you name the church? Can you give us an address? And guess what? A lot of those people that said, I'm unaffiliated, actually do attend, and they attend regularly. And a lot of them attend churches that are non-denominational. So they're not necessarily Baptist or Presbyterian. They go to these evangelical churches that are seriously devout, but yet they don't show up on a list. So they just put other or don't know or unaffiliated, but they are indeed affiliated. And so this is one of the great problems with what we're seeing, is that people are misinterpreting this. Okay, so you're unaffiliated, that means you're an atheist. And this is the conclusion that academics are drawing. But when you look at the data, you find some other magical things in there, that atheists pray, atheists go to church, so do agnostics. They've had religious experiences. They believe in heaven. They believe in hell. And it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because you've heard this expression that the church is full of hypocrites. But yet, when we talk and survey atheists and agnostics, you find that a lot of them have religious beliefs. They regularly practice them, and yet they claim to be an atheist or an agnostic.
Why is this such a revelation? Pardon the use of that word. I mean, this is not a message that's being filtered down through mainstream media, nor from pollsters. It seems to me that the pollsters may be kind of a lagging indicator here.
Yeah, and I think that what's going on is that there's a narrative, and the narrative is this, that God is either dead or God's on life support. And that's the narrative. And any data that will give some hint that that's accurate, that data gets attention. And the work that we're doing is difficult to get people to notice. And in fact, the article for which the op-ed in the Wall Street Journal is based was very difficult to get published. The reviewers hated it. So journal after journal rejected our article outright and said that, our conclusions were baseless, even though we used the 5 largest national data sets available to us. And so we finally, after several years, got the paper published, and then we wrote the op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. So why is it that we had such a hard time publishing the paper? Because it did not go along with the narrative. And so academics tend to be populated by people that are hostile to religion. And that's what we encountered in just trying to get the paper published.
Well, I want our viewers to take a look at that piece you wrote in the Wall Street Journal. There's a paywall there. Is there any other location where they can find that?
Yes, if they go to this website, I'll give you you can see the entire article. And if you just go to www.baylor, Baylor, isr.org, BaylorISR.org, when that comes up on your screen, it'll be the first thing that you see in bold, and you'll just click and you'll get the whole Wall Street Journal article. Okay, Byron Johnson, thanks so much for this. Really enlightening, so much so that we want to have you back to continue this discussion at a future date. But thank you for joining us today. Thanks, Doug.
Hi, I'm Doug McKelway, and thank you for watching Centerpoint. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Leave a comment below and keep the conversation going by sharing this video with a friend who needs to see it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.